What's up, algoriters? It's Friday night. It's both ladies and men's night, believe it or not. And we're going to have a little bit of fun breaking down some stories today on Celebrity Court. Now, let me tell you, in the court of law, facts are supposed to reign supreme, correct? But in the court of public opinion, perception sometimes is the ultimate judge, jury, and in this case tonight, even the executioner. Tonight, we're diving into cases where the legal system intersects with the fragile world of fame, where one accusation can destroy a legacy and one headline can shift the narrative forever. From alleged snitching scandals shaking hip-hop royalty to athletes battling both criminal charges as well as the relentless glare of the media, we're putting the spotlight on more than just the legal facts. We've decided tonight we're dissecting the stories that fuel controversy, provoke debate, and challenge our sense of justice. So let's open the docket. Welcome to Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm your judge, where your verdict might not align with the law, but it just might be the one that sticks. Joining me tonight, we have the fiery civil attorney, Shatan Turner. Shatan Turner, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Hey, Your Honor, it's glad to be back. It's Friday night, and even though normally it's ladies' night, I can't wait to hang out with you and Jason by myself.
All right, and joining Shatan tonight is shit I wasn't taught in law school, author Jason Weiss. Jason Weiss, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you, Your Honor, for having me, and there's no place I'd rather be on a Friday night than right here.
Excellent. Now, listen, don't forget, for Jason, it's the shield emoji. For Shatan, it's the fire emoji. And for myself, it is the facts emoji. Throw those in the chat, as well as please hit the like button. Also, please hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, please hit the share button and invite some folks over so that we can break down the law for them while we're talking about celebrities who are in trouble with the law. Don't forget to turn on your notifications because we have a special All Things Diddy coming up, as well as jump down in the comments because you know we love to hear from you. All right, first up, the streets are talking, and so is 50 Cent. In an upcoming documentary, 50 Cent claims Big Meech, yes, the legendary BMF figure, may have cooperated with the authorities. Big Meech, though, he isn't having it. He's threatened legal action, shouting defamation, while 50 claps back with claims of free speech and just the facts. I'm going to come to you, civil attorney Shatan Turner. Can Big Meech successfully sue for defamation if 50 Cent's claims are based on public records or alleged court documents? That's the question here.
Well, not if those documents are true, right? So the question is in any defamation case, the real question is whether or not there's a falsehood that's perpetuated and published publicly. 50 Cent would argue, if what is in these other documents is false, that he's not the one who started it, but the defamation lawsuit doesn't say if you just repeat it, then somehow you're not engaged in defamation. It's kind of the fruit of the poisonous tree argument, which is it was false once, and now you've perpetuated as false. Now, one of the things he might say is, I didn't know it was false. I believed it to be true.
I just repeated it.
Right, and it's likely true because it's reported in all of these other places. Big Meech, though, I always liked Big Meech. And remember that one line he had was like, I'm Big Meech, Lara Hoover, right?
Yeah. I love that.
Hallelujah. Oh, yeah, that was the thing. His whole rep is based on being hard. And if you know anything about these streets, and despite the way I might present myself, I know a little bit. The worst thing you can be in the streets is a rat.
It's a snitch.
Right?
Snitch.
So,
it's a snitch.
Yeah, so he's got problem. He has everything invested to try to clear this. Going for a defamation argument against 50 Cent is actually the way to go for his street cred because defamation's based on a lie. So by characterizing it as defamation, he's calling 50 Cent a liar. If 50 Cent is lying, then he did not turn on anybody.
Got it. Attorney Weiss, let me ask you this. Where's the line between freedom of speech in documentaries and spreading potentially harmful, unverified information.
So just going back to what Attorney Turner said, the defense to defamation and slander, because slander is spoken, is always the truth, right? And if you know it's the truth, you're going to have that, and you could go to bed and smile at night because the truth is on your side. But the second you go ahead and you start speaking or spreading rumors or things that can't be confirmed, you're going to get yourself potentially in trouble. So you have the freedom of speech to say, look, I believe that, he is not a nice person because blah, blah, blah. I believe da, 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 da. I heard on the street, da, 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 da. A friend told me. But if you go out there and you affirmatively state he is, boom, that's where you have the problem. And I think we actually have some video on this.
Yeah, we have some video. Let's check it out.
So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big. I can feel it. I'm just talking.
All right, before we see this other video, SL says Attorney Turner was in them books, but in the club.
Yeah.
Not a secret.
Abby NYC, the MM family says Meech is biting the hand that was keeping his kids straight and willing to feed him a correct life. All right, let's check out this second video.
First met 50. I was still trying to find myself. My dad was calling me from jail every day. He was like, man, what you gonna do? I'm like, shit, I don't know. And I always knew I wanted to be my own person. It's just hard, to live up to my dad's name. And he called me one day, he's like, man, they looking at Terrence Howard and Nipsey Hussle, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to play me, but you gotta go to acting class so you can get ready. So I met 50. 50 put me in acting classes for 2 years in LA. Invested in me, paid for the acting classes. I had to go every day, two times a day, 5 days a week. In the morning, in the afternoon, come back home, study again, do the same thing the next day.
Wow, a ball player.
Yeah, but I put in the work though, and it showed me that 50 couldn't get me the job. I had to get myself the job. My dad couldn't get me the job. They would have hired somebody else that already had acting experience. I had no experience. So I was coming from the street to the screen. So they not going to invest all these millions into me and I don't know what I'm doing.
That's interesting. All right. Daphne said 50 Cent always bullying somebody. Abby NYC, the MM family says it's giving bitch man energy. Ooh, wow. Abby don't hold back. All right. So this is a question for the algoriters. In a world where documentaries often shape public opinion more than courtrooms, who do you trust? The legal system or the narrative crafted for entertainment? Algoriters, drop down in the chat and tell me, who do you trust? Do you trust the law or do you trust the narrative crafted for entertainment? All right, while you're dropping down in the chat, we're going to move on. When it comes to legacy, few names are as iconic as the notorious B.I.G. But what happens when big corporations cash in on that legacy without permission? Biggie's estate is suing Target and Home Depot for slapping his image on merch without cutting the family a check. Ooh, not good, Home Depot and Target. Didn't they divest in DEI? So why are they using Biggie's image at all? Is this a clear-cut copyright case, or does it expose a bigger issue about respecting Black cultural icons? Okay, Attorney Weiss, I'm going to go to you on this one. How strong is the estate's case in proving copyright infringement against major corporations like Target and Home Depot?
So I'll tell you this, if there isn't a license agreement or some sort of permission to use this image, Target and Home Depot, they're looking at some serious financial repercussions. And what's going to happen is that, they're going to go ahead, they're going to put a cease and desist order out there, or they're going to try to, and they're also going to try to get an accounting of all the sales of all the merch that has this image and this information that couldn't be used. And they're going to ask for a majority of that money. Now, of course, Target and Home Depot will say that, well, it cost us X amount of dollars to do it. So they'll be able to recoup their expenses. But all of the profits and everything else out there should go to the estate. Now, look, in copyright law, you have certain things that you're allowed to do. You have fair use when it's parody or satire, and that's really not what this image is. I mean, this is something that is clearly not satire, not parody, not news reporting, not education, not research, and it's not in the public domain. So I'm very curious to see what Target and Home Depot is going to do. And the image is, I'm pretty sure it's like a multicolored image of, it looks like, paint was thrown on it, and it's with that $6 crown that he wears. That's what it is.
King of Hip Hop framed art poster.
Correct.
All right, there you go, Abby NYC. You wanted to know, let me see what Home Depot is selling with Biggie's image. There you go. Takara Tucker said, we need an appointed head black person over anything black that can be used to gain monies given back to that person.
And I nominate the Honorable Judge Reynolds for that role, as long as his right-hand man, his right-hand guy is right here. So we're gonna do it, and his right-hand lady is right there. So we're on it. We're ready.
Wait a minute. Danielle Cameron says, wait, Home Depot, is there Biggie paint? No Biggie paint. We just showed you the picture. Baylor, put that back up for a second. What is Biggie's face on at Home Depot? So it's a King of Hip Hop framed art poster, paper print with a black wood frame with plexiglass for close to $100.
When Target and Home Depot are saying now that they got sued, though, right?
What? They were like, what are they saying?
Biggie, give me one more chance. Biggie, give me one more chance.
Well, let me ask you this, Attorney Turner. What legal protections exist to prevent companies from exploiting a deceased celebrity's image like that? Does it have anything to do? Because we know that the estate is suing. So the estate, obviously, it was probably brought to their attention, right?
Right. So here's the practical concern. Like Attorney Weiss knows, and this is why he makes the big bucks in private practice, that the rights that exist for someone and the rights they assert and can collect on are not necessarily the same thing. So there are laws, as Attorney Weiss indicated, restricting the use of images that are copyrighted, and the exception to that is fair use, and he went through the exceptions. However, the only thing stopping Target and Home Depot from doing that, or any other enterprise, is when the estate asserts their rights and tries to protect them. And so sometimes, I'm not saying this is what they did, but sometimes people or stores are kind of sloppy because they get away with it because there aren't the estates that are constantly monitoring it. And by the time they do, the damages are such that they're less than the profits. So I'm not entirely sure how these two companies made this mistake. We may learn that there was someone who was representing themselves as having rights to this image that purportedly licensed it to them, and they were not authorized to do it. I suspect that we might learn that, because given the sizes of these organizations and the fact that they understand that you can't just do that, I think that they probably relied upon, to their detriment, someone who was not authorized to do it.
Well, the fact that they did divest it, good for them. Get them. Get them. How dare you use a black man's image to make profits at your company, and you don't want diversity, equity, or inclusion? JP Mills says, Miss Wallace said, not so fast.
And just getting back to the question that you raised, Your Honor, the estate stands in the shoes of Biggie. So if we were blessed to still have his talent here on our planet with us, then he would be able to do it. But just because he passes doesn't mean his rights pass with him. It goes to the estate. The estate has the exact same rights. They stand in his shoes, and they can do it. Called. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, everybody, the lights aren't liking. Please hit the like button. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, hit the share button. Turn on your notifications. And as always, we love reading your comments. Next up, from the field to the courtroom, NFL safety Jabrill Peppers is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. A guilty plea for cocaine possession tied to a domestic violence investigation that's still hanging over his career like a dark cloud. The league's personal conduct policy may hit harder than any legal sentence. So, is this real courtroom or is this NFL politics itself? I'm going to go to you, Attorney Weiss. Tell me, how might Pepper's guilty plea for drug possession impact his ongoing domestic violence investigation?
So we'll take a step back, right? His plea having to do with the cocaine probably
wasn't it dropped? I thought.
Yep. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was dropped. Let's look that up. I think either the domestic violence or something was dropped because he's the guy that used to be the captain of the Patriots.
Yeah, he was.
I saw a recent interview with him.
He went ahead and got a plea deal having to do with this. However, the domestic violence is still pending over his head. And look, the NFL does not mess around with domestic violence or controlled substances. So he is probably going to be unable to play. My guess, straight up guess, would be he's probably going to miss the next season coming up. That would be my guess. The entire
he missed 5 games this past season, right? That's what he said.
Yes, he did, and then he was allowed back in. But that had to do with he didn't strike a plea deal on the cocaine, and he still has not had a trial or anything. The problem is the NFL, they go in and they're going to try to do everything to protect their image, and they're going to say domestic violence, drug, everything. Nope, not what we want. This guy's probably going to be out for a season. So if you're a fantasy football player, I probably would not try to get Peppers, on your fantasy football roster. The NFL is known for harsh and strict penalties, regardless of what you do in the courtroom. And
so
that's
I'm assuming,
Roger Goodell.
Right. I'm assuming it seems like he only got a slap on his wrist. I'm assuming that this has something to do with the morality clause. So I'm going to go to you, Attorney Turner. So can an athlete's legal troubles outside of their sport fairly affect their professional career under this morality clause like this?
Absolutely. And as the lines become more blurred between the images and the likenesses of the athletes and their playing, the more motivation the NFL and other sports leagues have to enforce these morality clauses. Like one of the things with, even though this is professional sports and this isn't college sports, but with the rise of my likeness is something that I can monetize and it's a function of how I play. Now, what the athletes have done is said, hey, forget about those boundaries between private and public. They're blurred. So like before, when like Warren Moon and those other people were engaging in domestic violence and they were getting away with it and they got a black eye for it, no pun intended, and the NFL started to become more stringent about it. Now that they have fought to say, let us monetize our likenesses independently, right? Now they have given up the right to say, oh, well, that was my private life. And in this case, I just have to throw this out here. He is accused of strangulation. And so he really should spend this time getting some intense therapy, if that is true, because one of the things that shows a propensity for potential fatality more than any other acts of violence is actually strangulation.
Yeah. That's sad.
To add on what you asked, Your Honor, he declared his innocence, retained a lawyer, went to trial. He pled guilty on the drug charges and received probation, and the trial went ahead on the accusations made by the former girlfriend. The trial was 2 days long, and they found him being not guilty of that. So now
of strangulation.
Of strangulation. So the legal issue might be behind him, but the status with the team is far from certain. He has a good chance because there's a new coach that came into town.
Right.
The owner of the team, Robert Kraft, is a normally. I mean, he had some legal troubles of his own.
Yeah,
We all
yeah.
know.
But he's in the massage parlors getting
Yep,
his head in.
you got it. So my gut says he will probably still get something from the league because of the drug charges, but I take it back. He probably will not be suspended for the entire.
He probably won't be
season.
suspended if he was found not guilty. So
Correct.
you know this. My brother played for the Patriots for 10 years. I've gone to Denver with Robert Kraft a number of times. He's a different type of league president owner,
Yes.
right? Because he knows what he got in his closet. So maybe he won't be so. I think Robert Kraft. Well, Robert Kraft doesn't have much of a say, right? He's not going to throw him off the team. He's not going to do anything. He's going to give him a second chance, and he's going to allow him to come in with a clean slate. The NFL, based on the plea and based on it, I have a feeling they're going to put him into a diversion program. Sometimes rehab program.
He'll probably continue to play.
All right, Phoenicia Phillips says, "Where is Sean Carter?" Oh, Sean Carter's got a little fan club over here. All right, Attorney Carter had some family issues that he had to deal with.
Your Honor, you could tell the listeners the truth. He's at the local club doing stand-up tonight, not an adult club, but a comedy club. He's doing stand-up, and he is.
You know what?
He's there all night, right?
Yep, he's there all night.
He's there all night. Trying to win the prize. All right, everybody. Let's keep it moving along. It's the battle of he said, she said. Comedian Corey Holcomb accuses Cristina Payne of assault, while she fires back, calling him a liar. No charges have been filed yet, but reputations are already being dragged through the mud on social media. So who's really on trial here? The accused or the truth? All right, Attorney Turner, we're going to go to you this one on here. What
totally
legal
about
risk
the truth and what happened.
That you hit him.
That's what now I'm hearing is word on the street that I'm attacker now or
Why
something.
do you think he's saying that?
He doesn't want to go to jail, probably most likely. I mean, it is an assault.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there are witnesses who saw what happened, but he also has people who are willing to lie for him as well.
Yeah.
And
is there a camera at the Laugh Factory?
There's cameras all over the Improv, and that is the footage that we're talking about. Footage shows Corey Holcomb reaching over two people and punching me out, and my whole head goes back, and it's a whole horrible whiplash thing. It's horrible. It's like he punches me at 30 miles an hour over the security guard and another person who's trying to keep him away from me.
Right.
So if that's the case, Attorney Turner, if that's how it happened, right, and there's footage, why hasn't she filed a police report? Number one. Number two, let me ask this question, because in Los Angeles, if a crime has occurred, she doesn't have to press charges, right? The district attorney or the attorney general or whoever can bring charges against the person, right? Even though she doesn't press charges against him. So why isn't that happening here?
I think that you have what he said, what she said, and the truth is in the middle, and it's probably still unclear, which is why nobody else has taken action. The reason I was laughing is because Danielle Cameron is a fool, and she says, did he catch her edges? Because they sure is missing. Get your coin, because you can't do nothing with no edges.
Oh, Danielle!
That had me distracted, but now I'm going to go back and focus on what we're talking about.
That's hilarious.
I think that the person who's asking the questions asked about video footage. She says that they had cameras. I don't know if they've been reviewed. In this case, you have competing stories with the purported victims, right? Because he's saying he was a victim. She's saying she was a victim. She is a witness. And he also has people who say they were witnesses. So no one's going to press charges on that because it's not clear what the actual truth is. And so if there are videos like she indicated, then potentially there could be action taken by the district attorney. I have to say, I was not aware that the city of Los Angeles had that rule that's like materially different from what happens in other locales, that there could be an independent assertion without charges, because generally speaking, if the victim doesn't press charges, then the case goes away. So it can be asserted, right? But if you don't have someone who's going to participate as the victim of the crime, then there are no witnesses. And so,
well, isn't that what happened with? That's what happened with what's it, Megan Thee Stallion? She didn't press charges against Tory Lanez.
that was a different week. Yeah, I got to try to remember what we studied for that.
Yeah, no. Remember, she didn't press charges. Algoriters, jump down in the chat if you guys are up with me on this. She didn't press charges against him. The state brought the charges against him because it was a gun possession issue. And then because it was a gun that was not registered or something is the reason why Megan got pulled in.
Well,
right, Algoriters?
And I'm going to clarify a little bit, and I haven't taken criminal law in a long time, but I'll try to channel Attorney Ross here. I can't speak like him, and I'm not as good looking as him. But the thing is, the state or the federal government, they're the ones that ultimately make the decision. So even if a victim comes out and says, I don't want to press charges, I want nothing to do with this, if the state or the government feels like they still have a strong case, they could say, thank you so much for not cooperating. That's nice. We're going forward anyway. So it really doesn't matter. So if you have video footage, you have eyewitness accounts, then they could go ahead and proceed.
Got it. Danielle Cameron said too much hair, Jason, to be Ross.
Hey, all this gray hair, I earned it.
The only qualification I would have is that Attorney Rice is right. All criminal cases are the state versus whomever, right? So the whomever is the defendant. But in cases like this, when you have two victims, like absent the video, what's going to happen? Because then they don't know what happened. So there's some crimes that are so notorious that they can proceed just by what is known. But when you have like a fight, in this case, he's saying she hit him, she's saying he hit her. Without the video, when you have competing witnesses, I just don't know where it would go from a practical perspective, because no one would be able to achieve the burden of proof.
Right. So the state is the state's probably saying exactly what Attorney Turner is saying. The state's saying he said, she said, we have no clue. We haven't
seen the tape. I don't know. I just feel like it's very damaging for a woman to go on TMZ and say a man punched her several times in her face at 30 miles per hour. That feels like assault.
But if it's true, then she would want to press charges, and the state's going to look at this video. If there's video out there, the state's going to look at it, and if it's a clear case, they're going to bring charges. If they can't figure it out, they're not going to waste the money, and they're going to say, this is a he said, she said, and, there's nothing we could do. And that's why you have civil court. Go ahead, file in civil court. Nothing preventing either one of them.
All right, let's ask the algoriters. Do you believe public figures should resolve personal disputes privately, or does going public serve a greater purpose? So in this case, do you think it was cool for her to resolve her personal dispute on TMZ without proving the accusation that she's making? Drop down in the chat. All right, let's keep it moving. Justice for Pop Smoke. Fans and families have been waiting, but one of the defendants in his murder trial just took a plea deal, guys, possibly flipping on his co-defendants. Does this move bring justice closer, or does it feel like the system is bargaining with lies? I really want to know the answer to this one, Attorney Weiss, because it just feels like, I don't know. I guess my question is, how do plea deals help or hinder justice in murder cases like Pop Smoke?
So let's go on this one, just in Pop Smokes. I mean, I'm not 100% sure how many other defendants there are, but there are other defendants. So usually what the state will do is the state will make its case and not tell everybody. And they will try to find the weakest link. What's the weakest link? The person who knows the most, the person who probably
lose.
Well, no, a lot of times it's the person with the least to lose, because if you know the most, and you were only, like a little bit involved, they're going to try to get you to turn on the real bad actors. So usually what's going to happen is the state is going to say, let's say there's 3 of them. I think it was a total of 3. So the state probably said, this guy who's going to cop the deal, we're going to give you a sentence, because if you can corroborate what happened and what went on and all of this, we're going to be able to put these other 2 away for longer, and we're going to get them. And these are the 2 really, really bad actors. You, not so much. We'll give you a plea deal. You'll serve less time, but you're going to help us. So in a case where they're flipping on other people, a plea is usually in the best interest of the state and the victim and the family.
Now, isn't that a snitcher? Isn't he snitching?
He's not snitching, because all he's doing is he's going to have to go testify anyway. So it's not like he's saying to them, look, I'm caught. You got me. Instead of doing 5 years in jail, I could do 1 year in jail just by telling the truth. I'm going to tell the truth.
That sounds like a rat to me.
Well,
Attorney Turner, what say you?
If it looks like a rat, walks like a rat, smells like a rat, it might be a rat. I mean, Attorney Weiss brings up a good point. I mean, even though I know that that's the cardinal rule in these streets, trust and believe, alligators. I'm really sorry, but I got kids. I like being free. I do not want to find out if they have an orange jumpsuit in my size. And so if I become a witness to some criminal activity, I am going to sing like a canary. Know that. I will not go down for anybody else.
So you're going to be a rat.
I will be a rat. But the thing is that in this case, like, he didn't volunteer. I think that might be Attorney Weiss's point. Like, he got caught. And he's just like, hey, you got me, like Attorney Weiss said. This is what it is. And this is what it is. The interesting thing about this case is that there were minors involved too. So I didn't really understand how these kids got involved. And then they stole the Rolex that sounded like it may have been worth like $25,000, $30,000, but they weren't really good criminals. So they only got $2,000 for it. Like, the whole thing just seemed like, I don't know, like a prank gone wrong or something.
Sonny Clark says, me too, I'm snitching. High Maintenance says, sing like the Temptations. Sabra Hardy says, I'm not gang affiliated. Therefore, as a civilian, I'll be calling the popo.
And and just like Attorney Turner said, like, it's not like they're calling the tips hotline saying, hey, I want my $5,000 tip and doing all this. Like, you're going to jail. You're going to serve time if you.
So I don't know. That just still feels snitchy to me.
But here's the other thing.
He's a super snitch. And Corey Williams says plea deals always benefit the state, and he's a rat.
But here's the other thing, right? If you're not close with these other 2, who knows who's going to snitch first? So they could snitch on you, and you're only snitching to save your butt and to tell the truth. Hey, look, not everybody lives by the code, right?
Daniel Cameron said, I'll have to wife up at best because I won't make it.
She said, I ain't built for jail.
Daniel Cameron said, I ain't built for jail. I like a pillow top mattress to survive about 10 different moisturizers. Well, you won't get that. You won't get those moisturizers in prison. All right, everybody, let's get those likes up. Please hit the like button. Also, please hit the subscribe button. Also, if you've already subscribed, hit the share button. Invite some folks over to learn about the law on the back of these crazy, crazy, crazy celebrities who are out here committing crimes. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications because we got an All Things Diddy special coming up soon with Simone Redwine and also a former FBI agent and attorney, Quentin Williams. Also, please continue to jump down in the chat because we love to answer and see all of your commentary. Last but not least, Wendy Williams. She's built a career asking the tough questions. Now she's the one in the hot seat. She's in the hot seat because she's fighting guardianship rumors, legal drama, as well as health speculations. With her guardian suing Lifetime over a documentary Wendy claims she didn't approve, who's really in control? And also, we recently learned that the Guardian is asking the courts to keep Wendy from going and speaking to the media. So, does Wendy even have the legal right to decide if she can speak to the media or if she can do the documentary? All right, I'm going to go to you, Attorney Shaitan Turner. What legal protections exist for individuals under guardianships who've claimed they've been exploited?
This is an interesting question. Have you seen all of those movies from like the 90s and the 80s? I think there were some in the 70s where people were accidentally committed to a mental asylum and they couldn't get out, and they're like, I'm not crazy, and yet they were in there for a really long time and it was so difficult for them to get out. It's a nightmare. I used to dream about that nightmare myself. I think it's because my family let me watch those movies when I was too young to process them. But that's really what's happening to Wendy and anybody who happens to be put in a guardianship, because the entire purpose of it is to declare that you lack the capacity to make your own decisions. So once it's decided that you lack the capacity to make your own decisions, the question becomes, is it a plenary guardianship or is it a guardianship for certain purposes? So a plenary guardianship means that you can't do anything, although there's some exceptions under the law that says the guardian who's assigned can't make certain decisions that are required by law to be specifically enumerated, like they can't get you an abortion and some things like that. They can't agree to electroshock therapy. But generally speaking, a plenary guardianship means your rights are taken from you because even though you might not be in an asylum, the courts have decided that you can't make your own decisions, and it's for your own protection. That's the conundrum, right? They don't do this to punish people. They do this because they conclude that they can't make decisions that are in their best interest. Now, here's the interesting thing. For all of us who are not under guardianships, right? Like that poor woman that died in Brazil that we talked about the other day, right? She was entitled to make bad decisions. She was entitled to go on that balcony and do what she did and die, right? We'll just suspend a second that they think there was foul play. Wendy is saying, I could decide to go on Lifetime, make this documentary. It might not have been a good deal, but it was my decision to make because I had capacity. So that's where this gets to be complicated. It's not just because people are foolish that they get a guardianship, because you know what? I got 10 people right now that I could name that are foolish. In my life currently, they consistently make bad decisions. And one of them used to live in my house. And they're walking the streets free, right? So it's not just that people make bad decisions. It's that the court does a medical examination and there's testimony by doctors that say, look, they lack the
right. I think that's what I think people need to know. Guardianships just aren't made out of willy-nilly. You have to go through multiple medical examinations by multiple specialists. So you have a neurologist, you have a psychiatrist, you have so many people that have to sign off on your incapacity, that I just feel like everyone thinks that some person goes to the courts and says, oh, she's spending a lot of money, or she's out of control, and the courts make that decision. That's not how it works. Let's get to some comments, because it seems to be a mixed bag in the comments. So Abby NYC said, she's using her fans to enable her. I don't know if I trust it. Me neither, Abby. I got to be honest with you. Lakers in 5 says, free Wendy. Toria Williams says, Wendy, that guardian spending her money. Free that woman. I'm sick of that damn Wells Fargo. They are crooks. Danielle Cameron says, oh, wait a minute, let me see. On the entertainment we would get if we would free Wendy before the Diddy trial. Hell, I got a few family members who definitely shouldn't be free. Ginali 197071 says, I'm all for the people who need help, but Wendy's situation is starting to resemble imprisonment. Let's see who else. And Sabra Hardy says, as a concerned observant, non-family members. I did a form for antitrust complaint, RE Wells Fargo Bank, asking for a wellness check on Wendy Williams, a beloved public figure with NYC Attorney General. Okay, that's nice. SL says that Kanye needs a guardian. Danielle Cameron says Kanye's over here free as a bird, and y'all want to lock up Wendy. Someone come concern Kanye. All right, let's ask the question here then. Back to you, Attorney Weiss. Are guardianships sometimes used as tools of control than protection? Is that what our algorithms are saying?
That's what the algorithms are saying. Look, here in Florida, we have something called the Baker Act, right? And you can go ahead and you can get somebody put into, this type of care and checked out, but involuntary or voluntary, it's up to the person. Like if the family says we want to Baker Act them, they take them for 48 hours or 72 hours, they check them out. If they do it on their own, they can get out anytime they want. The whole goal surrounding Wendy Williams, I believe it was good intention. And the good intention was there was concerns that she was having alcohol problems, substance abuse problems, financial problems, and that there was something going on. To go ahead and just strip her of everything and then to not give anything back, I think that's where the problem is. And there needs to be, look, it's supposed to be independent doctors, not a doctor that Miss Williams wants, not a doctor that is going to go ahead and say everything for the state and everything, for that. You need independent doctors. And I would defer to Attorney Turner because she knows this area a lot better than I do.
Yeah, Attorney Turner, aren't they also, they've called for another evaluation to be done. So let me ask you this question, Attorney Turner. If the evaluation, this new evaluation comes back with the same decision, what's next for all these fans and all these people saying that it's not true?
I mean, they need to stay in their lane anyway. It's really not their business, but Wendy's made it their business because she's a public figure and she called the radio. But if the decision is confirmed, then it's a wrap. But here are some things that might happen that haven't been talked about. So as I indicated before, you can have a plenary guardianship, which is everything except for a few enumerated characteristics, but you can also have a guardianship that you can't make certain types of decisions. So sometimes there's a guardianship that says you just can't make your healthcare decisions. So they might do what Attorney Weiss is saying is not throw the baby out with the bathwater and give her back the ability to make some decisions and restrict her ability to make others. The interesting thing about Wendy, I heard in these streets, right, that she may have had a profound substance abuse problem, that alcohol and drugs, and perhaps she was diagnosed with this frontal lobe dementia, but in truth, her brain had been damaged because of that extensive use. And if she hasn't been using, she may have recovered some of her brain.
Some of that. I'm almost thinking
may have been
that's what I'm almost buying. I'm almost buying that.
And again, if she's going through and she's, under control, you can never cure. But if her substance abuse is under control, then maybe they will give her the opportunity to go ahead and
to have some leniency, right? This is the deal.
But you could have a limited guardian, just like Attorney Turner said, right? Maybe she's only allowed to take out $1,000 a week, or maybe she's only allowed to, be out until 10 o'clock at night. You can limit it and give her the right and give her the chance to earn back, 100% freedom, but then she won't feel like she's a prisoner, like she said in her interview.
Yeah, it's just listen, when she did that documentary, you could tell something wasn't right. I don't care what anybody says. You could tell something wasn't right. And I think the Wendy that we heard on these calls recently in the media does not sound like that same Wendy. And I'm kind of leaning on the side with you, Attorney Turner, that at one point she was just out of control, probably doing too much of whatever it was that she was doing. It was affecting her health, not only affecting her health, but it was also making everybody concerned around her, even the banks. So that means she was doing something with her money so irregular that a red flag went up and said, hey, we need to bring in some type of intervention. And we need, because, you know, we got reports of the stories of her calling her lawyers, calling her bankers, having very incoherent conversations with them, requesting certain things. I think the Wendy that we're seeing right now is after her sobriety plan.
I tend to agree. The other thing that also I think is curious, because we've been joking in the chat about, you know, Pookie, Ray, Duke and them who walking around making bad decisions and nobody's checking them. And they talk about Kanye. Like, at some point in the analysis, someone should be asking, and I think this is Wendy's point, whether or not this is unfair against her. Like, what triggered it? Is it because she was rich? Because she can't be the only drunk person showing up at the bank taking out too much money, right? What led specifically to them for triggering the guardianship analysis, right? And then the inquiry. So if I were representing her, which I am not, I would attack the things that Attorney Weiss said. Was there an independent analysis, right? Was there bias in the assessment because she was a public figure and she had been observed doing things publicly? Like, really attack the process, because once you attack the process and deem it as being unfair, then you at least get to start with a fresh slate, right? Because she should be compared to everyone else, not necessarily compared to how she was observed on her show.
Right. All right. I agree with that. All right, Algorithm, it's the time of the show where we go to you. I mean, we go to you as well as the lawyers to decide the verdict in the faith of everybody tonight. First up, Big Meech. Big Meech. All right, Algorithm, is Big Meech a snitch? Right? Is Big Meech a snitch or not a snitch? Attorney Weiss, what say? Is he guilty or not guilty of being a snitch?
He is snitching.
He's snitching. Attorney Turner, snitch or not snitch?
I ain't saying nothing about Big Meech. He about that life. He can come after Attorney Weiss if he want to. He ain't rat on nobody. Not guilty.
I'm Al here, and I'm the judge here in the court of celebrity, court of public opinion. And I think in court of public opinion, let's see what the algorithms are saying. The algorithms are saying that Meech is chasing the check, so that makes him does that make him a snitch? Algorithms, what you think? Daniel Cameron said that's your time. That's right. All right, we're gonna find Big Meech guilty. Guilty is charged of snitching. Next up,
he can come find me in Arizona at Attorney Carter's house. I'm at 123 Main Street in Arizona.
Toria Williams says snitch. All right, next up is Target as well as Home Depot. Guilty or not guilty of copyright infringement? Attorney Turner, what say you?
It looks like it. You know, I don't usually like to make a rush to judgment, but in the court of public opinion, I would say guilty.
All right, Attorney Weiss.
So I'm going to refrain from guilty or not guilty. I just want to see what comes out, because there might be some sort of, you know, rogue document out there, but short of that, then guilty.
Boo! All right, I'm Al. I'm the judge here in the Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. In public opinion, they are guilty of dropping their DEI efforts, but trying to sell a black man for a profit. Nope, guilty. Hang them. Just kidding. Jabrill Peppers, is he guilty or not guilty of, well, he got off on the domestic violence, but is he guilty of violating his morality clause for the NFL? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
So I think he was guilty. He served his punishment, and I think the gentleman gets a clean slate to try again. And hey, Jabrill, if you're listening, lead by example. You're a team captain. I wish you were still on the Giants, but do good by everybody and show them all how it's done the right way.
All right, Attorney Turner, guilty, not guilty?
I hope he's not guilty of it all. I'm always suspicious when domestic violence charges get dropped like that. But anyway, I'll go with not guilty for this.
He went to trial. He was found not guilty.
In the court of public opinion. In public opinion, I'm going to find him not guilty. I think he deserves a second chance. As long as those domestic violence charges were dropped and he was found now guilty, I think he should start over. He's a young guy with a great future. I would hate to see all that hard work go to waste. So we're going to find him not guilty here.
Plus, Your Honor, when they found the cocaine, they didn't have to find his big balls in his pants. So
right. Ain't nothing down there but a big dick and some big balls.
There you go.
I'm still tracking up over that. All right, next up, Corey Holcomb. Is he guilty or not guilty of hitting Cristina in the face? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
I think they're both guilty of trying to use the media to gain some traction and attention. And I think they're both guilty of needing to shut their mouths. And the one tool that all attorneys should have is duct tape and put it on your client's mouth.
Attorney Turner?
Yeah, I mean, who are these people? They are guilty, as Attorney Weiss said, of seeking their 15 minutes. They got it.
All right, my name is Al, and I'm the judge here in the Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and I'm going to find them both guilty. See, it's so hard because they're both comedians. So you don't know. I'm really not sure. I'm not sure, but Sabra Hardy says Corey Holcomb is a jerk. I actually liked his interview on Club Shay Shay and also his other interviews, but who knows? But I think they're both guilty. I think they're both guilty of trying to get some publicity off of this. But what I don't like is seeing a woman on television saying that a man punched her in the face at 30 miles per hour. That I don't like. So if that is true,
how would she know? So that's the other thing. Like, does she have some sort of measurement that was determining like how fast his fist was coming? So that's a very precise thing. And as Abby said in the chat a while ago, you know, if that happened, there would be evidence of that.
Right. I just feel like if that really happened, the people in there would have shut it down and would have called the police if they saw.
And there would be marks.
Right.
That's what Sonny Clark said, or Danielle Carter. That's what they said.
I agree too. All right, moving right along. Is Pop Smoke a rat or not? Is he guilty of being a rat or not? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
He's a rat. I mean, it is what it is. He's a rat, but he's looking out for his own behind. So,
Attorney Turner.
He might got friends on the outside. He not guilty. Yeah, go after Attorney Weiss.
You know, Attorney, you over there in Pittsburgh. Nobody's thinking about you. All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and we're gonna find Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke is squealing like a bird,
like a rat,
like a rat. I don't know. I just feel like in public opinion, the court of public opinion, it looks like he's a rat to me. So we're gonna find him guilty. Guilty as charged. Last but not least, is Wendy Williams guilty or not guilty of manipulating the media to get what she wants? Attorney Turner, what say you?
This is complicated and sad. I just don't know. I'm going to go with she's not guilty of manipulating the media. She's just attempting to advocate for herself.
All right, Attorney Weiss.
I think she needs to be given a chance to show any progress that she's made and to possibly have some of the restrictions lifted. Not a clean slate, just go, but, you know, slowly allow her to, you know, get back into the swing and make sure she doesn't fall backwards.
Well, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in the court of public opinion, and I'm going to find her guilty of manipulating the media to get what she wants. I mean, it's quite clear that if she did not do all those interviews, they would not have been forced to do another evaluation. Now, this is the kicker here. If that evaluation comes back not in her favor, I think she needs to sit in what she created. I think that's fair to say, because I think her play of the media, her play of her fans has gotten her another evaluation. If that evaluation comes back and says that nothing should change, then I think she should sit in what she created. So I'm going to give her a guilty verdict. All right.
But isn't that the irony?
Yes.
She has been declared to lack capacity, so she is not currently responsible for her decisions. So to say that she should process it appropriately and stand down.
But I think she knows. I think she knows what she's doing as it relates to the media. She's calling different friends of hers of 30 and 40 years. Like, for instance, Harvey over at TMZ. He and Wendy have been friends for years, and they both had the same publicist for decades. So I think that's a friendship call. The call to Charlemagne. Those are intentional people that she reached out to, that she has a relationship to help her get out of that conservatorship. And that's what they put their relationship on the line to do. And I think it's intentional.
And I would say if she is savvy enough to manipulate the media by leveraging people that she knows has influence, that would be exhibit A, that she's got capacity to make her own decisions.
All right, let's see. I agree. Let's see what the doctors say. All right, everybody, in the courtroom, the gavel drops and the case is closed. But in the court of public opinion, the verdict is never final. Tonight, we explore cases where facts met feelings and the legal rulings collide with public outrage. We saw how reputations could be shattered without a single conviction, and how justice isn't always about what's written in law books. It's about the stories we believe, the headlines we read, as well as the conversations we have. So, as we close the docket, I'll leave you with this. Is justice defined by the law, or is it sometimes defined by us? Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and remember, your opinion might just be the verdict that matters most. Court is now adjourned. Everybody have a great weekend.